Cajun Cardboard coming at you today from the great state of Louisiana with a little impromptu video that I decided to squeeze in on this Thursday, April 5th. I was just curious, so I went to Card Ladder, searched the index, sorted it by player, changed the filter to 3 months best performing. And so I've got, drum roll please, the 3 active players with the best index appreciation over the last 90 days according to Card Ladder. And again, this is only factoring in the cards of these players that are included in the Card Ladder database. But I chose 3 active players that had the highest yield and highest return on their Card Ladder index with a pretty decent quantity of cards included in their database. So I'm going in reverse order. So the third best performing is ironically the likely MVP, or at least 50-50. We don't know what's going to happen. Nikola Jokic. Should come as no surprise that his cards are banging over the last 90 days. Remember, he's in that pre-Panini overprinting boom explosion 2018 year. Nikola Jokic's rookie card was back in I think 2015, right? 2015. But Jokic's rookie year, I think 2015. Right here, 33% growth over the last 3 months. Over the last 6 months, it's 23%. Over the last year, it's 17%. So in a year where we've seen everything seem to come down and fall down and find a new floor and maybe start to run or maybe just find its saturation point, Jokic has been enduring and performing in the super green, not just green, but double figures green, up 17% over the last year when the general market index is very much red and down is pretty impressive. But we're looking at the last 3 months. Let's look at some of the cards that are in his index, right? I'm going to keep this video to about 15 minutes, I hope. But best performing cards in his index. Again, how many cards did he have in his index? Sorry, let me go back. He had, I screwed that up. He has 152 cards total in his index. But the best performing over the last 3 months, his base Prism PSA 9 has jumped 180%. That's bananas. That's the card we're talking about right there. In a PSA 9, makes it a pop 1584. The PSA 10 is a much, much lower pop, right? The PSA 10 is a pop 879. Still not the lowest pop card. But his PSA 9 has jumped, and of course, that was a low starting point. So let's get that out of there and make sure that's not an anomaly. It's not really, well, it's kind of an anomaly, yeah. So the card was about a $90 card 6 months ago. It's up 108% over the last 6 months. The PSA 9 we're talking about has run all the way from 90 up here to a pretty steady 190. So it's more than doubled, up 108%. The base BGS 9.5 has also run 136%. Let's click on that and look at it. Again, there's the card we're talking about. Again, Card Ladder doesn't make any distinction between a minimum gem, a mixed gem, a quad, a gem plus, or a gem plus plus, right? There's a million types of BGS 9.5s. If you don't know what I'm talking about and it sounds like I'm speaking a foreign language, go search back on my channel. I explain all the different types of BGS 9.5s as we know it now. Of course, there's rumors that those BGS 9.5 categories and the terms, the terminology may change in the near future, but as of right now, that's what the designations are. Those are your options. Here's what that BGS 9.5's done. Started at 237. The most recent one jumped all the way to 409. In fact, the last 4 sales are 350, 375, 375, all the way up to 409. Of course, you can click here and see what those subgrades were because that has a lot to do with it and what platform they sold on and things like that. We're going to skip past this press proof gold because I knew it was just going to be 2 sales over the last 6 months. Let's go to maybe his 2015 Donruss Raw. Are we serious with this? This has got to be printed into the gajillions. Even back then, in 2015, this had to be printed out the ass. This card has run all the way from 50. It jumped down here and was picked up by a few people for 18 bucks for a raw version. Again, with raw cards, it's kind of dangerous. You don't want to rely too much on the data points because you don't know what condition these cards were in. This one might have had a very clear, horribly white, furry corner. This one right here might have looked absolutely perfect with a super high-end seller who was guaranteeing it was a PSA 10 worthy. You just don't know, right? You don't know if this maybe was a seller with a 3 feedback and it was 70% on eBay. Who knows? But it looks like the card's worth anywhere from, what is that, maybe $80 to $95, something like that. Pretty good performance over the last 6 months for a pretty high printed raw card. So that's just Jokic. That's the first look, the first player. Who do you think the next player is? He's super hot. He's going to make his first All-NBA team. I think he was an all-star alternate this year, unless I'm mistaken, and he didn't make the all-star team, but I think he did. I probably should look that up before I did this video. Plus, he's one of my guys that I prospected very heavily, who I am currently trying to sell his National Treasures True RPA. It's none other than the University of Kentucky Wildcat legend, De'Aaron Fox, whose cards have jumped 54% over the last 3 months. Let's look at over the last 6 months, up 22% because he's had a banging season the whole season. And then over the last year, again, another player who, despite the fact that the general basketball market has gone down, has bucked that trend, and he's gone up 8% over the last year. That's super impressive. Let's look at his cards. Which cards have run up the most? I like to see this. So his 2017 Silver PSA 9, again, Jokic's top performing card was a PSA 9. De'Aaron Fox's top performing card is a PSA 9. That's a little bit weird. But here it is over the last year. But let's look at the last 3 months because that's what we were talking about. Wow, somebody picked up a PSA 9 Fox Silver Prism rookie card for $19. It costs $19 to grade with PSA. And this kid's an all NBA, and he's the future franchise point guard on a max contract. $62. Even that seems cheap. Here's your pop report right here. The PSA 10 is probably the real banger, and that card has done pretty damn well, if I do say so myself, doubling over the last 90 days, starting it as about a $100 card and getting all the way up here to a $215 card. It's about $535 in PSA 10. But the PSA 9 is the one that we're talking about that's performed best, and that's really jumped, and it's probably because some joker picked it up for $19 down there. I mean, I don't know if that card's ever sold for that low. Yeah, maybe it has. Good Lord, $15. Maybe they just think that there's, 500 or greater, 500 PSA 10s out there. 496 is just too high a pop. His 2017 Optic Base. Yes, you heard me. Chromium Base PSA 10, commodity card, City, overprinted City. Even in 2017, these things were overprinted. It's a good looking card though. It's sort of a color match. It's not really, but it sort of is. It's kind of a deep blue, almost purplish blue. I'm just begging there. It's a $50 card, last sale approximately, which is a big jump from the ones before that. It was 40, 45, all the way up to 50. The card was consistently down here below $20 as recently as 3 months ago, it looks like. Yeah, below $20. Somebody picked it up for $16. Now it's jumped all the way up to $50. So that Optic Base PSA 10s perform well. And then the Optic Base PSA 9. That is really weird that the Optic Base PSA 9 and the Optic Base PSA 10 have outperformed the Prism Silver. That just seems really, really odd because the Silver is more highly sought after and the pop is much lower. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe the Silver just didn't drop as much as the Base did. As we know, Base went through the ringer over the last 2 years and got destroyed, decimated, demolished, obliterated, and decapitated. That's all the D words that I can think of to describe bad things. But let's look at the Silver PSA 10 anyway, because we did look at it quickly. It's jumped all the way as high as 300. I'm curious where this card's been over the last 2 years. Yeah, that's why. The card came down from $829, dipped all the way down here to a low point of $98. You could have picked up a PSA 10 De'Aaron Fox Silver for as low as $98 not that long ago, honestly. That's just before Christmas. It's like 3-4 months ago. It's 4 months ago. And now the card's almost a $300 card. So 3 for 1, right? So anybody out there who says you can't make money, I'm talking to the investor types, right? If you're a Fox collector, collect your cards, buy what you love. But if you're an investor type, anybody who says you can't make money in cards anymore is not correct. You can. You just have to make intelligent, informed, educated decisions. And a little bit of luck would never hurt. You're not going to believe who card number 1 is. And I promise this is not a setup. You guys know I hyper collect this dude in a huge mega fashion, but Dame Lillard, and I'm not sure what happened here, but it looks like from February 15th to February 16th, his index like doubled overnight. And so I don't know, there may be some strange anomaly. Maybe Card Ladder has a glitch in here. Maybe something's wrong. So take this with a grain of salt, but we're going to look at the cards because those are going to be more indicative of whether something good or bad is going on. The first one we'll look at to select, and there's enough data here to make an educated, kind of observation that the card was 133. It's kind of run and meandered all the way up to 350. That's a pretty big jump over the last 3 months. It's up 162%. If we look at it over the last 6 months, up 39% over the last year. It's actually down. So this is something to really keep in perspective, that maybe the card just ran down and that's why it's performing so well over the last 3 months. That looks to be the case there. 2012 Select Base PSA 10, only $289. Remember, cards weren't printed in 2012 and 13 and 14 like they are in 2018, 19, 20, and 21. Its shit was very, very different. Base then was almost like silver now. It's actually, base then is like 1/10 of silver now. That's how crazy the disparity is over the last year. Again, this one's not doing great, but over the last 3 months, it clearly is. The card was noticeably consistently in the 80s, and now the card is definitely consistently over 100, and it's sold, what is that, about 100, over 160, about 8 times. So up 104%. There is no denying that that card is performing well over the last 3 months. That's his 2012 Select Base. And then his BGS 9.5 2012 Prism Base, not silver, base, is up 78% over the last 3 months, and that's pretty consistent too. The card was a little over $100. The card now is pretty consistently over $150. We'll see what happens with that card as they have shut down Dame Lillard. The Blazers have flamed out once again. They are not making the playoffs. Everybody's going to be hyper-focused on playoff players. We're going to go into the offseason, and Damian Lillard is going to be forgotten unless his name comes up in trade talks, in which case his name may spike. Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, every summer, they're always discussed as far as trade talks go. So if the name comes up and the Lakers become a possibility, the Heat become a possibility, the Bulls, you name it, the freaking Mavericks, any team that's relatively relevant, if Damian Lillard's name comes up and that trade ends up happening, his cards will spike. It doesn't matter where a player gets traded to, his cards spike. It just happens. They could get traded to a worse situation and people are just stupid. They just buy his cards and they pay more for it. So that has happened and will happen this summer if his name comes up and if he is in fact actually traded. I was just also curious where his PSA 10 silver is. Again, I own this card, so I have a little bit of a vested interest. It's way down. So I bought mine right here. I bought mine at $4,000. The card now is $1,800. So I'm taking an ass whipping. Again, luckily, my intention is to hold this card you're looking at for Cajun Eternity, which I intend to. So that card has been butchered over the last year. Over the last 2 years, it's even worse. Thank God I didn't buy it at $9,800. But remember, there's 38 of these things in the world. There's only been 62 ever graded by PSA, right? And who knows how many of those are crack and resub. So, just something to keep in mind. Anyway, that's it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. That is the end of the video. Jokic, Fox, Lillard in that order according to Card Ladder over the last 90 days. Those are the 3 best performing active player indexes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon for notifications. Check out one of these 2 videos at the end of this and click through and just watch another one. Binge as much as you can. The more you watch, the better my numbers look, and I can keep making $0 and making ad-free content for you guys about basketball cards, both ultra modern and 90s. Thank you guys for watching. As always, hope you have a great Thursday. Don't forget, tomorrow my Explore the Card episode comes out. I'll give you a little spoiler alert. It's going to be the 1993 Skybox Premium Center Stage. You guys are going to enjoy it, so hit the bell icon so you know when that video drops. All my videos drop at 4:30 on weekday afternoons and then at 10:30 a.m. Again, this is Central Time on Saturday and Sunday. So 4:30 during the week, every day of the week. 10:30 on Saturday and Sunday, both days on the weekend, Central Time. Thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.